Hello, my bees. Today we're going to talk about how to plan a trip without overcomplicating it. Let me clean off my glasses first. If planning a trip feels overwhelming, it's not because you can't do it. It's because you're trying to do too much all at once. The real problem is you're paralyzing yourself by choice. You have too many tabs open, you're looking at too many hotels, you're thinking about two different places, you're comparing all these different types of trips, and you're watching tons of travel videos, and then the next thing you do, you just get overwhelmed and walk away. If you go to a store and you're trying to decide between one or two items, it's easy to make a decision. But if you're trying to decide between 3 to 5 items, anything over three, forget it. You're going to put everything back and walk out of the store. Quick aside, I know I talk a lot about not watching travel videos, but I have to say that one of my guilty pleasures is actually walking on the treadmill while looking at travel videos of people walking through European cities or someplace that I'm actually wanting to go. Just because that way, when I go there, I get to know the lay of the land. Also, I feel like I'm walking somewhere instead of on a treadmill staring at the wall. So there's that. Okay, guys, this is how I plan my trips without being overwhelmed. First things first, you have to decide what kind of trip you want to go on. Let's think about it. A beach trip isn't the same as, say, a European trip, so why would you want to compare all of those things? So, what you need to do is decide the type of experience you're looking for, not the destination. So, do you want to rest and recharge like a spa trip? Do you want to go to a walkable city and go to some museums? Do you want to do food and culture? I love food. I always want to do food, but you could do that at plenty of destinations. But do you want to do a special trip just for food and culture? Or do you want a beach trip? I love beach trips as well. So, what type of beach trip do you want? Do you want to go to a beach that's lively like Miami? Or do you want to go to an all inclusive? Or do you want to go to someplace that's very small and secluded so you can rest and recharge and just lay around and read a good book? That's okay too. Do you want to go on an adventurous trip? Do you want to go zip lining or paragliding or parasailing for that matter? Do you want to go hiking or skiing? There's so many different types of trips out there, but you can't start looking for them until you decide what type of trip you want to be on. So decide what you need first, and then you could narrow down your choices. Don't continuously just scroll for inspiration because you will drive yourself crazy because there are so many things to see and do out there, which is exactly why I'm trying to get you out there to enjoy most of them. Okay, next step, we're going to narrow it down to two options, at very most three. We've already talked about how more than three paralyzes your choosing muscles and then you'll walk away and feel overwhelmed. So let's try just two options. So we have to think about, once we have our options down, we have to compare the flight time, I would say. I would compare the walkability of the city that I'm going to. Definitely consider the weather, because depending on the time of year that you're deciding to go, that might really affect whether or not you want to go to that place. You want to think about safety. Safety is always something to think about, especially if you're a solo single lady traveler. And then, of course, you want to compare cost. You don't want to overspend because you want to be able to afford more trips. But you also have to weigh whether or not the cost of a trip is worth it to you. So sometimes, I want to spend a little bit more. I want to treat myself and go someplace a little bit more expensive when I'm comparing two trips, and that's okay too. It's entirely up to you, but these are some of the things that I compare when I am thinking about going on a trip, and that will determine which place I will be going. Okay, so now you've decided on your trip. You decided where you're going to go. You decided when you're going to go. Have you decided how long you're going to be there? So let's just say you're booking a trip for a long weekend. So you decide on your dates. You know how much you're going to spend approximately. And so guess what you do next? Book the flight. I know, nothing else has been planned, but it doesn't matter. You need to book that flight because booking the flight creates your commitment. Once the flight is booked, because you already had your dates set. So you might as well just go ahead and book those flights. Check them out. Get the times that you like. I am a very early morning traveler. I'm going to tell you two reasons why. A, fewer people at the airport. B, If there's a problem with my flight, I have the entire day to remedy the situation. Some people aren't that way and they like to go later in the day, and I understand that when you're trying to check into a hotel, it's not until the afternoon. However, I'm flying carry-on only. It's usually a shorter flight on my small trips. So I am wearing the clothes that I'm going to wear for the day, and I give my bag to the hotel. So then that way I am free and clear to go start enjoying my trip before I even check into the hotel. I'm going straight to culture, straight to food, straight to fun. That's just how I do things. You can do it however you like. This is your trip, not mine. But I'm just telling you that for me, causes fewer problems than waiting later in the day. Okay, once the trip is booked, the trip becomes real and the rest of the planning becomes even easier. Speaking of simple, keep the trip simple. Choose a central hotel. Stay in a walkable area. Make sure that you're using the carry on mindset. Leave room for flexibility. You're not trying to plan the perfect trip, you're trying to expand your life. So, if you've been saying maybe next year, simplify the process, decide the experience, narrow down your options, and book the flight. Thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to hear more about how to expand your life, please check out my blog in the description below called boldlyroamingbees.com. Also, hit that like button and subscribe, okay? Thank you.